शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावर दण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः दैवी सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
Namaskar. On the occasion of 23rd Convocation Ceremony of Film and Television Institute of India, I, Dhiraj Meshram, as Dean of Films, on behalf of FTII family, welcome our Honorable Chairman, Shri Shekhar Kapur sir, Honorable Chief Guest of today's program, Mira Nair ma'am, respected members of Governing Council and Academic Council of FTII, and all graduating students of our filming courses from batches 2008 to 2019, who came here as students and lent themselves to the most challenging explorations in cinematic expression, surrendered to the great masters of cinema, learnt and explored most popular language of human gaze, that is cinema. We also extend a very warm welcome to the families and friends of our students. This convocation is a bit unusual in its digital avatar. Certainly, the world has changed in many ways, and we have all been reluctant actors in an unscripted world for the last 1.5 years of the pandemic. Many of us lost our near ones. We at FTII mourn the loss of our dear student, Tathagat Gaikwad, whom we lost to the pandemic at a very young age. Let us all pray for his family to bear this loss with strength. I believe that films helped us survive the pandemic in many ways. Confined indoors, grieving at the widespread misery, lack of work, isolation from dear ones. It was films that held out hope and healing amidst despair. It was films that brought cheerful diversion to sad hearts, addressed the torment in our souls, and inspired us to stay steadfast. The need for storytellers has never been felt more urgently to meet the challenge of these times. This convocation is also unusual for the number of students who will be receiving their certificates today. We have, for the first time, graduates from 10 batches from the discipline of direction and screenplay writing, cinematography, editing, sound, art direction and production design, feature film screenplay writing, and acting. In our Diamond Jubilee year, FTII is also conferring diploma certificates on those students from the past years who could not complete the course when they were regular students here. Dear students, this is a time to appreciate your hard work. The commitment and absolute devotion with which you all completed your course. With the best of training you have gained at the Institute, many of you have already proved yourself in your independent explorations. And you surely will continue to touch hearts and minds of viewers with your craft, vision, sensitive portrayals, and meticulous skills. The Government of India had a great mandate for the Film Institute when it was first set up to help foster our national film culture and put Indian cinema on the world map. We have fulfilled that mandate and are celebrating the Diamond Jubilee year of the Institute. In the coming years, we will work with even more enthusiasm and dedication to live up to the expectations of our students and the achievements of our alumni. I am happy to say that in the last few years, FTII, with its short courses, has also made inroads into the interiors of our nation by bringing cinema to little-known corners of our vast country. The nation basks in pride as our alumni bring variety of tales to the screen, both big and small. Our student films bring us rich harvest of laurels from film festivals worldwide at Cannes, Venice, Oberhausen, Berlin, and the list goes on. While the convocation on campus would have been something to cherish, we also recognize that more delay is not desirable owing to the lingering clouds of the pandemic. This moment has come much delayed for some batches, but it has come just like the flowers that bloomed when the pandemic brought the life to a standstill and nature began to heal. I thank administration, teaching and non-teaching staff for making it all possible. I offer my thanks to the visiting faculty members of this institute from India and abroad who shared their wisdom, their vision, and their skills with you all. While I understand that your work outside and recognition to your work will be your true certificate, the official certificate may help unlock many new doors for you, especially to the students who joined diploma courses 2016 onwards, who can now pursue research work or further education in their respective areas with the recognition of master's degree equivalence to diploma courses accorded by the Association of Indian Universities. Friends, your education in cinema will continue as you practice the art and craft, and may you remain a student of cinema forever. We rejoice that the great spirit of FTII and the wisdom tree will continue to reflect not only in your work but also in your life. I wish you all great journeys ahead and look forward to your visit to your alma mater. Congratulations and thank you.
At the helm of this grand institution is our director, Mr. Bhupendra Kainthola.
भारतीय फिल्म और टेलीविज़न संस्थान FTII के 23वें दीक्षांत समारोह में आप सबका स्वागत है। हमारा पिछला कॉन्वोकेशन 2.5 साल पहले मार्च 2019 में हुआ था। आपको याद होगा कि 2017 में एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडियन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ AIU ने हमारे फिल्म संकाय के 6 पाठ्यक्रमों को मास्टर डिग्री के समकक्ष की मान्यता दी थी, और 2019 में ऑल इंडिया काउंसिल फॉर टेक्निकल एजुकेशन AICTE ने हमारे टेलीविज़न संकाय के सभी 4 पाठ्यक्रमों को मान्यता प्रदान की। 2020 मार्च के बाद से देश दुनिया कोरोना की चपेट में आया, लेकिन हमने चुनौती का मुकाबला करते हुए पहली बार ऑनलाइन तरीके से 2020 बैच की एडमिशन प्रक्रिया पूरी की, नतीजे घोषित किए और पाठ्यक्रम का एक अंश ऑनलाइन पढ़ाकर पूरा भी किया। जैसे कि आप सभी जानते हैं, 2020-2021 FTII का हीरक जयंती वर्ष, डायमंड जुबली वर्ष है। साथ ही हमारे टेलीविज़न संकाय का स्वर्ण जयंती वर्ष, गोल्डन जुबली ईयर। इस मौके पर हमने अनेक गतिविधियां शुरू की। इस वर्ष जनवरी में एक अनोखे धातु शिल्प कृति नभ अभीप्सा का निर्माण किया गया, जिसे सिनेमाटोग्राफी और आर्ट डायरेक्शन एवं प्रोडक्शन डिज़ाइन विभाग ने कल्पित किया। महाराष्ट्र के राज्यपाल माननीय भगत सिंह कोश्यारी जी के कर कमलों से इसका उद्घाटन हुआ। 6 अगस्त को भारतीय सेना के अध्यक्ष जनरल M.M. नरवणे ने यहाँ कैंपस में आकर पुल देशपांडे टेलीविज़न प्रखंड का उद्घाटन किया और साथ ही P. कुमार वासुदेव हाई डेफिनेशन स्टूडियो और V.J. मुले स्टूडियो का स्मृति समर्पण भी किया। हिंदी भाषा में मौलिक फिल्म साहित्य तैयार करने के लिए FTII ने कुछ महत्वपूर्ण पहल किए। हमने 2 फेलोशिप प्रदान किए और फिल्म की 2 विधाओं, फिल्म संपादन और फिल्म निर्देशन पर हिंदी में किताब लिखने का काम इस समय चल रहा है। मार्च में एक विशेष पुस्तक बीइंग FTII पर्सपेक्टिव्स ऑन द फिल्म एंड टेलीविज़न इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडिया का प्रकाशन हुआ और महिला एलुमनाई पर भी एक विशेष किताब बैलेंसिंग द विजडम ट्री छपने की ओर अग्रसर है। कोविड के प्रकोप से FTII भी औरों की तरह जूझता रहा, पर हमने समर्पण नहीं किया और एक के बाद एक अनेक गतिविधियों को सक्रियता से चलाते रहे। जैसे कि आप सभी जानते हैं, पिछले कुछ वर्षों से FTII की गतिविधियां अब सिर्फ पुणे तक सीमित नहीं है। पहले स्किफ्ट आउटरीच कार्यक्रम के तहत और अब सेंटर फॉर ओपन लर्निंग के द्वारा फिल्म और टेलीविज़न की अनेक विधाओं में अब तक 11,000 से भी ज़्यादा लोग विभिन्न अल्पावधि कोर्सेज के द्वारा FTII से जुड़ चुके हैं। लद्दाख के कारगिल से कार निकोबार तक और मणिपुर के इम्फाल से राजस्थान के झुंझुनू तक FTII अपने पद चिन्ह छोड़ चुका है। इन दिनों सेंटर फॉर ओपन लर्निंग के परचम तले बड़ी संख्या में ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज का संचालन भी हो रहा है और फिल्म शिक्षा के लोकतंत्रीकरण के इस महायज्ञ में देश विदेश के लोग लगातार हमारे संपर्क में आ रहे हैं। स्वतंत्रता के अमृत महोत्सव के उपलक्ष्य में FTII ने निःशुल्क 75 शॉर्ट कोर्सेस अनुसूचित जनजाति के प्रतिभाशाली नौजवानों के लिए ऑनलाइन आयोजित करने का लक्ष्य रखा है। बीते 60 वर्षों में हमारे एलुमनाई ने फिल्म, टेलीविज़न, मीडिया और मनोरंजन के क्षेत्र में योगदान दिया है। वो अतुलनीय योगदान है। जिस तरह उन एलुमनाई की वजह से हमारे संस्थान की यश कीर्ति बढ़ी है, उसी तरह मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि आज उपाधि प्राप्त करने वाले हमारे छात्र छात्राओं की वजह से हम सभी का सीना भी चौड़ा होगा। अंत में FTII के अध्यक्ष शेखर कपूर जी और शासी और शैक्षिक परिषद के सदस्यों का उनके मार्गदर्शन और समर्थन के लिए मैं आभारी हूँ। FTII के शिक्षकों, कर्मचारियों और फिल्म और टेलीविज़न संकायाध्यक्ष और कुल सचिव, उनके प्रति भी मैं अपनी कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करता हूँ। और आज जिन छात्रों को उपाधियाँ प्रदान की जा रही हैं, उन सभी को मैं अपनी शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ और उम्मीद करता हूँ कि वे अपने कार्य के द्वारा FTII की शोहरत पर 4 चांद लगाएंगे। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Presenting renowned filmmaker and chairman of the FTII, Mr. Shekhar Kapur.
Before I welcome our chief guest, the eminent filmmaker Mira Nair, thank you, Mira, for coming to this convocation. The students are very excited, and it's very important that somebody like you has come to grace this occasion. A filmmaker that has been admired all over the world for all these years and continues to break new ground in cinema with every film that you make. So please, very, very hearty thank you from me and all the students and the faculty and the staff for you to grace this occasion. I'd just like to say a few words. It's been a tough year, as we all know, all over the world. It's been a tough year, especially for the students of the Film Institute. Tough because it's that part of their lives where they are exploring, wanting to be part of new horizons, and they've not had the opportunity to come to the Institute. They have been trying, and the staff and the faculty and everybody's been trying to make sure that everybody's connected through online teachings and online lectures. But online is not the best way to teach film or acting or performing or directing. And online doesn't easily lend itself to the kind of brotherhood spirit that you develop when you come to an institute or to a campus. Hopefully, the students will be coming back. Just a few more words, and I would like you to say something about that too, Mira, about what is the future of cinema. Cinema is becoming much more global. And when everybody used to talk about Indian cinema and Western cinema, Eastern cinema, you were the first one to break that norm with your films. And I think Monsoon Wedding will always stand out to be one of my favorite films of all time. And you completely broke the norms. You won the Venice Film Festival. You showed everybody that it doesn't matter where you come from or where you make films, there is a global idea of cinema. So that's something that we have to inculcate and break these boundaries. The breaking of boundaries is the future of cinema. The coming together of cultures from all over the world is the future responsibility of cinema. I would like to bring technology into storytelling. We produce some of the greatest storytellers, not only from the Film Institute, but all over India. It's a land of storytelling. But we need to adapt to the new technologies of storytelling. And I'm not just talking about visual effects. I'm talking about storytelling in gaming. I'm talking about storytelling in visual, in the way we create words. And I think that we need to take the Film Institute into those realms and to make sure that the students that come out of the Film Institute are not just great technicians in the way that we understand the technology today, but in the way that technology that will come in the future. And that future is coming very, very near. It's next year and the year after next. The technology is changing so fast. So let's not get left behind. But I assure you, the students here, whatever interaction I've had, despite the fact that I've not been able to come to the Institute because of the pandemic, whatever interaction I have had, or anybody that I've asked to come from all over the world to talk to the students, they've come away very impressed with the kind of questions and very, very impressed with the keen insight that our students, even our new students, possess of how to tell stories about cinema and about the world. So thank you, everybody, for having me on. I hope to come to the Institute as the chairman of the Institute to come and visit soon. And once again, thank you, Mira, for gracing this occasion. And I'm going to hand it over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you for this honor of addressing the convocation of the Film and Television Institute of India, a venerable place of creativity that so many of the greatest artists of India have come through. As for me, I must warn you that my nickname growing up was Pugly, which, as you know, means mad girl. And I still think that I am a mad girl more than anything else. But then in my work as a filmmaker, indeed, if we ever deserve the title of artists, we must always welcome madness as a vital guest. Today is a remarkable moment in which you warriors of cinema will be unleashed from this cocoon into a pandemic-ridden world that has never been less peaceful, more destructive, less glorifying in risk and experiment. My prayer for you all today is to use your scholarship and your craft wisely to express yourself at the highest standard, but always have something to say, and to make your work illuminate our common understanding in the world. Movies have shaped my life. The idea of telling one's story in cinema is what has shaped my life. If we don't tell our own stories, no one else will. And if they do for us, then they will certainly not be as fine as we are. I believe there's nothing more extraordinary than life itself, that the truth, I like to say, is inevitably more powerful than fiction. Little did I know that the bed sheet that would be tied around the columns of the veranda of the Bhubaneswar club where I grew up would be the curtain that would forever inspire me towards the journey of storytelling in cinema. In the early 1960s, when I grew up as the youngest daughter of a IAS officer, we lived in these government bungalows, one just like the other, 8 down the road, and at the end of our home was another identical home that we called Bhubaneswar Club. There, fancy dress parties were held, and billiards and bingo was played, and adults in bad makeup presented naughty skits, and every Saturday night, movies were shown to a bunch of people and adults sitting cross-legged on the red oxide veranda as we watched Mala Sinha and Dilip Kumar and Balraj Sani and Raj Kapoor tear up our hearts on screen. Cinema was fantastical, but the real was too compelling for me. I grew up in a place like many of you, like many of our country, cheek by jowl next to those who'd had nothing. This inequity was my first inspiration. The inequity between those who have and those who have not. So I first got inspired to tell stories by the oral tradition that is so ancient in our culture, the stories that came through my town in the form of jatra, or traditional mythological traveling theatre. I looked at tales of the Prahlad Nataka, of the Mahabharata, of the Ramayana, 2 actors with no props, launching into incredible texts that really brought to home the triumph of good over evil. From the jatra that was so inspiring, I studied political theatre with Badal Sarkar, the great radical playwright of Bengal, of Kolkata, who taught us, much like the cinema of Mike Lee, to take a subject important to us and create, as a theatre group, an improvisational play that tackled that subject. And my first subject was something called Jalus, which means, of course, procession, that questioned political apathy in us as growing up children in India. From political theatre, I applied and received a scholarship to go to America at the age of 18, where I discovered in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Ricky Leacock and D.A. Pennebaker, the great documentary filmmakers who gave me the confidence to believe that life as a working artist was possible. Ricky and Pennebaker taught me cinema verité, which is the cinema of truth, which is how to create essentially a documentary cinema that reflects life and contradictions in all its complexity. From that point on, at the age of 20, my education in cinema became spotty but passionate. I looked at Satyajit Ray for the first time all the way in America. I looked at all the films of Ritik Ghotak, who was a great teacher and professor at FTII, as you all must know and love. I looked at the extraordinary films of Buñuel. Chris Marker, Le Raté, was one of the great films made out of a series of stop-motion still photographs that compelled me, actually, to become a filmmaker. It was possible in the films that I was seeing, that it was possible to put life into movies. And again, the elasticity of cinema to create the seesaw of my own experience, the living between worlds. I began by making several documentaries in the cinema verité style, including So Far From India and India Cabaret. As an Indian filmmaker in New York in the 80s, I would ride the Greyhound bus with all my documentaries under my arm in those ancient days when we had spools of film instead of little DCPs. And I would show my films to anyone who would want me. Unions, women's groups, colleges, universities, film clubs, anywhere. I would have to tolerate audiences who would ask me whether there was tap water in India and how come I spoke such good English. In those years, I must say, I discovered the loneliness of being an artist. I did not want to be a cultural ambassador of my country, educating Americans about my homeland, but back home in India, my films were also alternative. Mired in the reality of the streets, they were faithful to the idea that truth is stranger and more powerful than fiction. And my documentaries were the opposite of anything that came out of what is now known as Bollywood, and I was the complete outsider. There is a saying, as we well know, in our country, "Dhobi ka kutta, na ghar ka, na ghat ka," which literally means, as you know, the washerman's dog who's on the street and yet at home everywhere. And for years of making films, I felt like that dhobi ka kutta, not really understood at home, but considered a kind of novelty abroad. But in my heart, I was at home everywhere. I learned many lessons in those days: to prize one's own intuition, to persist in creating what makes one distinct, to seek courage from rejection. I found that people who inhabit different worlds can see through each of them. It is such people who have a sense of modesty, who know that there are other ways of seeing, who develop appreciation for, rather than mere charitable tolerance for, other ways of life. Filmmaking for me is a disease, and I like to say I'm super sick. Maybe it came from growing up in a place where the borders between rich and poor were impossible to turn a blind eye to, and yet the world was small enough that I felt I could make a difference. Perhaps I could. As a kid, as a young person, I grappled with the question, with the idealistic question: can art change the world? Can art impact the world? My first feature film, SALAAM BOMBAY, in 1988, grew out of my documentary roots. I worked with training street children in film acting so I could accurately portray their reality in my film. I also wanted, with the story of SALAAM BOMBAY, which was a mix of street kids with known and unknown actors, like Irfan Khan, as you know, was his first role in any film, in anything, was SALAAM BOMBAY. Raghubir Yadav, Nana Patekar, Anita Kamar, these great kind of wonderfully trained actors blended in with what people call non-actors, the kids of the street, who are actually amazing actors in their own reality, to create the world that became SALAAM BOMBAY, hand in hand with my fantastically close collaborator and writer, Suni Tharapurwala. I wanted to use the proceeds, if we had any, of this film, SALAAM BOMBAY, to impact actually street kids that, as we know, careen the streets all over India, but especially in Bombay. So when the film was finished, we created with dynamic individuals a Salaam Balak Trust, a non-profit foundation for street children, to directly impact government policy on street kids. And I'm so happy to tell you that about 33 years later today, Salaam Balak Trust is a thriving institution through which 5,000 children of the streets come and be housed and educated and have a whole new way to be children again in our centers, which are across Delhi and Bombay. I've always been drawn to the stories of those who are considered marginalized. If you're not in the mainstream, or if you're not in any stream at all, you are virtually invisible in our society. I am very much about telling stories about those who are my own. We are important in our skin, in our color, in our language, in our poetry. When we break the isolation of people, when we realize that our frailties and our struggles are as important as the other, that's the point of art for me. I followed SALAAM BOMBAY with my second film, Mississippi Masala, which, by the way, is getting its 30th anniversary re-release just this Saturday across the United States and then the world. it was the racism in us, in our Indian community, both abroad and at home, the distinction and the status that we give to fair being beautiful and black being ugly, the questioning of how black and brown live together in the form of an extraordinary interracial romance that once again Sunita Arapurwala wrote to an idea that I had had of being brown between black and white, what I called the hierarchy of color, in which I cast Denzel Washington and an unknown newcomer, Sarita Chowdhury, to play opposite him. And this was a radical film then. Brown and black had never been seen together in a frame, leave alone fall in love with each other. I was attacked soundly by members of the Indian community here. But it is a film that lives on, and it is a film that, well, I say has produced Kamala Harris, the vice president of this country, but it is a film that must be seen by our generations of people who have missed it in the last 30 years, because it is still radical to put black and brown in a frame and celebrate both our commonality and our differences. Mississippi Masala led me to make, some years later, Monsoon Wedding, an experimental film that I made with largely members of my family, with a wonderful script by a student of mine at that time, Sabrina Dhawan. Both Sabrina and I are from Delhi, and I wanted to very much make a reality check version on our shadis, on our weddings. We'd all seen Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, we'd all seen the great Bollywood movies on weddings, but there was nothing that resembled what it really felt like to go to a Punjabi wedding in Delhi, where I live. So we made Monsoon Wedding, which was, as much as it was about masti and the intoxication of life that largely we live with, that Punjabis are known for, as much as it was about that, it was also, more importantly, about the blanket of silence that lies in the hallowed ground of family, the secrets that can often, if you scratch the surface, can really disturb and bring back to justice secrets that have never been revealed about sexual abuse, about the conflicts really between family that are never spoken of. Monsoon Wedding led to several other Hollywood films, Vanity Fair with Reese Witherspoon, which was a reinterpretation of Thackeray's classic, which for me was a meditation on how the empire had raped the colonies of India to create a fat middle class back home in England that created a Becky Sharp, a girl, a badass girl who wanted to rise from nothing to the head of the heights of English society. And this was something that Thackeray, a young man born in Calcutta actually, returned to his society at the age of 14 with the eyes of that outsider. And I loved Vanity Fair for that inside-outside view of the empire, of the English society at that time. So whenever I feel like I have something special to say about a classic, then I like to make it. But otherwise, I say, tell our own stories that are around us. Years passed, and I had the tragic experience of losing a parent in a country that was not her home. My mother-in-law passed away suddenly, far from the fields, from the red earth of East Africa, where she came from, in New York, as a result of medical malpractice in a institution here, in a hospital here. And I was so struck and so affected by the finality of this unexpected and terrible loss. And it was in this morning that I read Jhumpa Lahiri's brilliant book, The Namesake, and it became such a comfort and such a solace for me. I felt like someone had understood me in this dealing with the finality of loss. Jhumpa's writing really distilled the nature of grief, the loss of a parent in a country that is not fully home, and it takes readers across a world of crisscrossings that is achingly familiar to me, as I really do live between India and the States. This was a film that represented the state of many of us who live between worlds, the constant comings and goings. I shot New York City and Kolkata as if they were one city. The massive steel of the Howrah Bridge, like an iconic sash across the Ganges, was echoed in the light grace of the George Washington Bridge here across the Hudson River. I scouted a hospital on Roosevelt Island, and I felt that it easily might have been in Kolkata. Ashima could give birth to Gogol here in the story. She could look out the window, and in the girders of the Queensboro Bridge, in the shake and the hum of traffic, would lay the ghost of the Howrah. The textures and graffiti, the salam to both politics and art, these were the gods of both cities. The film then would be about the movement and the crossings of people like us, the bridges, the trains, the planes, the neutered temples of the airports. These would be the threads of the film that gave us the tapestry that covered 30 years of the Ganguly family's life between New York and Kolkata. This duplicity of worlds is something I know well, and this duplicity of worlds is also something that cinema realizes in such a powerful and effective way. Because of this, I feel that in the creative realm, borders and bridges alike need to be fluid and porous. I try to tell stories in which people can see themselves, not just some people, but all people, not just some places, but everywhere. It takes courage to be original, especially for those who have been told for the past few centuries that the West is the mirror, that they can see their future, which is something I do not subscribe to. In this journey, which is now almost 40 years old as a filmmaker, I have discovered 4 truths that I live by, and I wanted to share with you as young warriors going into this battlefield, in a way, of making cinema, of making our own stories. The first truth is to never treat what you do as a stepping stone to something else. Do it fully and completely, and only at its fullest will you know where it might lead you. The second is to let the heart inform the brain, to prepare, to communicate, but at the moment of working, to allow inspiration to come from any quarter, a carpenter, a street child, a piece of the moon. The third is to be brave and to prepare to be lonely and to cultivate stamina. Keep on working, keep on practicing your craft. Don't be precious about it. The fourth is to beware the fruits of action. This is straight from the Bhagavad Gita. To serve your work purely and without thinking of reward. Because in the film world, rewards can be immense and confusing. I directed the film version of the best-selling novel, The Reluctant Fundamentalist, by the writer Mohsin Hamid. I was inspired then to make a contemporary film about Pakistan, especially in this day and age when the perceived schism between Islamists and the Western world becomes more pronounced each day, and the West has full of its coming-of-age stories. We have Jack Kerouac's On the Road, we have this, we have that. But where is the one of a South Asian young man who loves America and feels betrayed by it? It was always time for our stories, but now is the time we will make them our way. The cruelest impact of colonialism was the belief that we are incapable of representing ourselves. Our cultures being seen as akin to a child or a sick person who needs a guardian to serve as an intermediary. But we must put this crisis of self-confidence behind us. We have already, but as you who are going out to make the cinema and to make the stories of the world today, you have to put that aside. They called me Pugly the mad girl when I was growing up. And there's little anyone can learn from a mad girl. But there is no doubt that this mad girl has learned a lot from you, has learned a lot from our art, including how to nourish her madness into beauty. I salute you really on this heroic day of achievement, of graduation. I salute your years of learning and I ask you to serve your imagination purely. Your stories, your paintings, your sculpture, your scholarship. I hope to really be reading your names as beacons of clarity and madness in a better world that you will, inshallah, create. Finally, I hope you remain true to the twin goddesses, beauty and truth, as long as there is fire in your hearts. Thank you very much and good luck as you go forward in life. Thank you.
And now it's time to showcase the creative brilliance accomplished by our students during their time at the Institute. We find great pleasure in awarding diplomas to the following students.
Hi, this is Srijit Basu. I am 2008 batch cinematography, and I am really grateful for this opportunity to talk about my time in FTII. It has been the best years of my life, and I've learned a lot there. My teachers, Nadia sir, Soman sir, Divakaran sir, they have really helped me and nurtured me to learn about cinema, cinematography, and how to handle the tricks and tips of this industry. Secondly, FTI is a great place to learn from your seniors, from batchmates, and it has been truly one of the most learning years of my life. And according to me, this is the best time one can have and enjoy this process of cinematography and learning about cinema. And according to me, FTI is the best place to learn about all of this. Thank you. Cheers.
Hi, my name is Nitin Lucas. I'm a 2009 batch sound recording and design alumni. I'm really happy that I spent my post-graduation time in FTII. After passing out, including Titi, I did many feature films as a sound designer from India and abroad. And recently, I written and directed a feature film called Paka, River of Blood, which was screened at the Toronto International Film Festival Discovery section as the world premiere. I'm looking forward to making more film from whatever I have learned from my film school, FTII. And I'm very proud to say that FTII is my alma mater. Thank you.
The Film Institute for me is the premier place in this country where someone who doesn't have any familial ties in the industry, or someone who's from a humble background, you can come to this place and learn and empower yourselves in the art of filmmaking. As a student of FTI, you have this privilege of being completely submerged in the art that is cinema, without any kind of market pressure or commercial forces operating. And I think that is what makes FTI a highly precious, relevant, and very important space. I owe a lot to FTI for any kind of artistic ability or artistic learning with respect to the craft. And thank you.
Please welcome member of the Academic Council, well-known cinematographer, director and educator, Mr. Mazhar Kamran.
Dear students, it's a pleasure to address you on this occasion as you graduate from FTII. I think it's a turning point in your lives because from now on you will carry the name of FTII with you. So I would say remember this place and what it has given you. You spent a few years learning the art of filmmaking. And it's a privilege to have received this education, and it's a privilege the nation has given you. And I would say think of it as a debt and think of ways you can pay back. Do not forget your roots. Remember where you come from, your mother tongue, the people back home, and think of what you can do to return what you owe. I would say accept all kinds of work, whether it's big or small. Just do it the best that you can and make that a habit, I think. That will stand you in good stead. That habit and the fact that you love your work will take you where you want to go. You chose filmmaking as a vocation because you love it and you enjoy it. Now that you'll be earning a living from it, making efforts to do that, should not make you think differently about it. It should be the same. Keep the same focus on your art. Even if you have to make some sacrifices, make some hard choices, you should be prepared to do that so that in the long run, you're in a happier place. You reach where you want to go. So make FTII proud, make the country proud with what you accomplish. All the best to you.
Now, requesting member of the Academic Council and renowned director, Shri Aanand Mahendroo, to share his thoughts on this occasion.
Hello. So what are convocations? Why are they organized? Who organizes them and for what purpose? Why is such a long tradition that the pass-out students after some months come back to their alma mater and they are celebrated? Well, nobody will tell you the truth. Great speakers will speak great inspiring things which you don't really need to know because you already know what they're about to say. Because year after year, speakers say the same things. Do your best, invest in yourself, make the institution proud, as if you were going to do anything otherwise.
this institute is celebrating its Diamond Jubilee, and it has the largest Padma awardees as compared to any other IIT or National Institute of Design or any other national institute. So why is this tradition of convocations? Well, there are three reasons. When you come here, you come from official towns, either in a train or a bus or a plane, and you don't know what is in store for you. But you are the chosen 10 out of 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 for different disciplines. You come here, you meet strangers. Those strangers become your best friends and partners in crime. They assist you, you assist them, you debate, you sit under the wisdom tree, you discuss, you challenge each other, you discuss great stories and characters, and you fight, but you love each other, and you help each other, and then you pass out. And by then, you have gone into a cocoon, because you can trouble your teachers, you can go on a strike, you can demand things, but when you go into the real world and work for a few months or a year, and then you see how lucky have you been. And then when you come back to the institute, you come back with a newfound affection for the place, for the teachers, the same teachers that you irritated, the same teachers that you argue with, and rightly so, because the institute is for the students and not for the teachers. Even teachers are for the students. And also, convocations are great memories, and our lives are made of memories. And what a great memory it is to come back and find your friends who were for 1 to 3 years with you, and they went their separate ways. And now you see them again, and silently you compare notes. Is he doing better than me? Am I doing better than him? What is he doing which I'm not doing? What can I learn from him? But that is life. So according to me, this is not a great way to celebrate convocation, but my compliments to Mr. Kainthola. Like many things, he has started this tradition. Unfortunately, there was no convocation for us. We were just sent our certificates or degrees or diplomas by post. But when I came here on 15th of June, 1974, I think the convocation had just taken place a couple of days before, and there were a lot of seniors from all disciplines. Shabana Azmi ji, Mithun Chakravarti, Tom Alter, they had stayed back, and we had the good luck of interacting with them. And particularly for me, I found Institute to be a very, very friendly place all throughout my 3 years over here, or rather more than 3 years. And I have always come back to the Institute whenever it had needed me, and I shall always come back because it is our second home. And so you will realize it soon. Thank you.
Let us resume viewing our graduating students' works.
always a difference between a student looking back at her institute vis-a-vis a pass out reminiscing her time there. So I'm really thankful to FTII for this opportunity to allow me to think back and giving me a chance to look back, so to speak. Standing at the beginning of my practicing career, what I gained from FTII, all the sweet and sour memories, find perspective. I hope that the students who are in FTI at FTII right now and the students who come after this, they have similar experiences as mine, maybe even better, so that they leave with something that they can hold on to, just the way I have.
FTI plays a vital role in my life in the process of learning lessons on life and understanding the language of cinema. FTI helped me greatly to be bold in my choices, follow my heart, and to be passionate in my pursuit of creative individuality. FTI houses different artists from different places, languages, and cultures, screening films, observations, opinions, discussions, debates, arguments added to my understanding a lot. I learned to appreciate different passions and different opinions. FTI enabled me to visualize life in every light and shade and to read the aspects of life. I also would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt thanks to FTI, my family and friends, FTI teaching, non-teaching staff, all the lightmen. I would like to thank our alumni Samar Nakate, Jahangir Chaudhary, Piyush GS Bhaskar, Setu, Anay Goswami, Malaire, AS Kanal, Nitish Mohanty, who really taught me to construct a powerful narrative and to create an aesthetic image. Studying at FTI, truly the best thing that ever happened to me, where my passion found expression to live the life I have always craved for. FTI not only helped me to sharpen my craft as a technician, but also trained me to be a fine artist. Throughout my life, I cherish the experiences, the space and time at FTI. Thank you.
And now, presenting the works of graduating students of screen acting.
3683 3683 हाँ कहाँ पे लगाई थी? ये MG रोड के पास.
Maybe his father has given him this bike.
So what, mom? Can't you see how he has taken care of this bike?
अरे क्या पाटिल साहब? मतलब पठाण साहब, तुमको ना त्रास होता चलना बाईकोला? छी, हाँ? नहीं.
भाड़ में जा बेवड़े साले.
क्या? क्या बोली? नहीं क्या? अरे चल कुछ नहीं बोल. मुझसे पंगे न ले मैं बता रहा हूँ तेरे को. चल. बेटा, सैम प्रमोशन मिला? साले बताया भी नहीं. नहीं यार.
नहीं, we are engaged.
मुझे तो ये धोखेबाज लगा. अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ तो?
कचरा एक दिन में थोड़ा ही ना इकट्ठा होता है.
जश्न मनेगी, एक पैक से क्या होगा? जश्न मनेगी.
आगे बढ़ के ले लेना थोड़ा सा.
ओ मैडम, इंग्लिश में शेयर दो ना का.
सर ये रेंज नहीं आती है सर, जस्ट कॉल.
तो मेरा मुंह क्या देख रही हो? गो फाइंड हिम.
वो एकदम से उसकी तरफ दबती और छाती पे बैठ जाती है. वो वही दम तोड़ देती. हाय शपथ से.
is Shenethang Hamzoy. I'm from the 2019 batch. I left my job in advertising to join FTII because I felt it was time to unlearn the stuff that I'd learned over the course of many years and acquire new skills and hopefully find newer and more meaningful ways to express myself. And sitting here on the brink of graduation, I think I can confidently say that I've achieved all that I set out to achieve at FTII, and it was all thanks to the institute and the people involved in it, from the students who are also passionate and energetic about cinema and art, that their passion and energy rubs off on you, to the teaching and non-teaching staff who are also friendly and approachable and always there to guide you, mentor you, mold you, and most importantly, inspire you. The time that I spent on campus has been wonderful, and I take away so many great memories. To my classmates, you are the finest set of 10 people I had the honor and privilege of sharing this journey with, and I'm really glad that I can call each one of you a friend. To the Institute, once again, thank you for being an oasis of knowledge and inspiration to the thousands of people like me who have walked in and out of your gates in the last 61 years. I wish you all the very best. Thank you once again, and onward and forward to whatever is ahead in the journey.
In the evolution, growth, and successful graduation of these budding filmmakers, the unconditional and unwavering support of HODs, teachers, technicians, and staff from our 7 departments is highly appreciable. Presenting the Department of Direction and Screenplay Writing.
At FTII, the Department of Film Direction and Screenplay Writing has always been a space for generations of filmmakers to explore and arrive at their identity as filmmakers. Here, students engage with the craft of filmmaking and work closely with their creative crews to develop compelling stories. They prepare to take on the primordial role of the storytellers with their own distinctive voice and style.
At FTII, film is an act of creation, and the teachers and the great masters of cinema initiate their disciples into a journey of the self and into the universe of cinematic expression. Since the earliest days, students of the Direction and Screenplay Writing Department have embarked on an exploration and experimentation of the film form, narrative styles, and the language of cinema. Direction classes nurture their sensibility on a larger historical awareness, philosophical and aesthetic debates, regional cultures, and international cinemas. Touched by the spirit of the pioneering filmmakers and acclaimed teachers, our students transform into budding filmmakers. Very often, they return as celebrated alumni. Some of the best films of Indian cinema, critical discourses and pedagogy have emerged from our Direction alumni. Working in close collaboration with their peers, the students of film direction learn to hold on to a personal vision, while at the same time placing an extraordinary faith in the vision and skills that their crew members bring to the film. presenting the Department of Cinematography.
I am privileged for the rare honor given to me for presenting the contribution of Cinematography Department at this momentous convocation ceremony.
The Department of Cinematography has given a wide number of outstanding luminaries to the industry, bringing recognition and respect for Indian cinema. Today, the department takes pride in continuing to provide a majority of qualified professionals to this domain, upholding this legacy. The tradition of teaching modules has always inculcated cinematic vision with constantly updated equipment alongside state-of-the-art facilities. However, the most significant Midas touch to this department has always been the continuous association with the maestros in the form of workshops and master classes. The legendary late Ashok Mehta and Shubroto Mitra being the jewels in the crown. We look forward to upholding this tradition of excellence with pride and conviction, aspiration and accomplishments, which is a way of life here at FTII. Presenting the Department of Editing.
Film editing department has been established along with the inception of Film Institute in 1961. We have 3 years program of film editing, and this department has been established by R.K. Ramachandran, who was middle brother of R.K. Lachman and R.K. Narayan.
This was the machine that I did all my exercises on. Now I think it's slowly moving towards a part of history.
The editing course makes students explore and understand the cinematic form, content, and the variety of approaches to storytelling. The students get an opportunity through the course to witness the history of filmmaking from celluloid to digital. Apart from regular theory and practicals, the department organizes workshops with subject experts, industry practitioners, and academicians. Prominent amongst them has been the workshop conducted by 2-time Oscar Award-winning Walter Murge, the famous editor Hervé Schneid, and the popular French documentary filmmaker Siegfried.
The entire workflow went like at ease. So, it was a great experience. We actually learned and experienced that we can work under tight schedules and timings.
ओवरऑल जिंदगी जीना सिखाया, मतलब एडिटिंग टेबल पे आप जिंदगी को समझ सकते हैं.
The department continues its endeavor in updating itself with the currently prevalent aesthetic and technological advancements in the field, and continues to take the journey forward along with other departments at FTII. And now we present the Department of Sound.
Dear students, let me congratulate each one of you on this momentous occasion. I have witnessed your journey of becoming professionals in the field of sound and cinema, and I am really proud to be a part of it. I want to wish all of you great success as you move on towards a bright career. The sound department has always aimed for excellence by training students to approach cinema through sound.
The alumni of the sound department, who were trained in various analog systems like magnetic and optical that worked in sync with the celluloid film, later easily adapted to the digital domain. It is this philosophy of the department to give equal emphasis to the technique and the aesthetic that has helped our alumni in becoming the torch-bearers of the paradigm shift. The department has always incorporated the changing technology in production and post-production facilities for the students to get hands-on experience.
Please be on axis with the mic.
We at the department constantly improvise exercises for students to explore and extend the use of sound in art and in life.
क्या हुआ सर?
Numerous accolades, including the most coveted Academy Award won by our very own Rasool Pukuti, are of great inspiration to the sound department. And now we present the Department of Art Direction and Production Design.
The inception of the art direction course dates back originally to 1996, when FTII introduced this at a postgraduate diploma level. Considering constant evolution in the field, the institute relaunched it in 2005 as a course in art direction and production design with a much more inclusive and comprehensive approach.
When we think of films, especially fiction, a lot depends on imagination interspersed with one's real-life experiences and perceptions. Putting those thoughts in a sequential manner culminates into a storyline, the basis for any production designer to start their creative journey alongside the vision of the director. Our students, coming from fine art and architecture backgrounds, strive hard to get the best exposure while taking up hands-on exercises in a conducive academic environment under invaluable mentorship of the most accomplished industry experts. Their journey in FTII is filled with liberal thoughts, visualization skills, extensive research, usage of various spatial and character designing techniques, materials and processes. This journey also has its own share of hurdles and challenges in order to achieve the much desired illusionary worlds on screen. The department takes immense pride in stating that many of our students have carved a niche for themselves in the industry through hard work, perseverance, and technical brilliance.
With a vision of creating real or imagined worlds on the screen, today this course develops individual creativity and imparts technical skills for a comprehensive career in film designing.
Presenting the Department of Screen Acting.
Namaskar. Today, I welcome you all to the 23rd Convocation ceremony of the Film and Television Institute of India, Pune. Let me take this opportunity to express my feelings of pride and nostalgia, having studied here as acting student and then teaching in my own alma mater. I will briefly take you through the memory lane into the times when the acting course was founded in FTII and how it evolved over a period of time.
The acting course at FTII commenced in the year 1963. From then to the year 1980, FTII nurtured talents like Jaya Bhaduri, Nasiruddin Shah, Shabana Azmi, Shatrughan Sinha, Subhash Ghai, Om Puri, Asrani, Mithun Chakraborty, and many more. They went on to win many national and international awards, along with civilian honors like Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. In the year 2004, the acting course at FTII was restarted after a gap of 26 years. From 2016, a new syllabus has been implemented based on some significant changes in the pedagogy of cinema, and the course has now gotten the equivalence of a master's degree approved by the Association of Indian Universities. 19th March 2019 became a milestone for the department as it got its new building equipped with 2 state-of-the-art studios named after famous actors and FTII alumni, Tom Alter and Om Puri. The old studio has also been refurbished and renamed after veteran FTII teacher Roshan Taneja. Recent graduates like Rajkumar Rao, Divyendu Sharma, Rasika Duggal, Jaideep Ahlawat, and many more are taking forward the glorious legacy of the department. We are confident that students who are part of today's convocation will face the challenges of the outside world innovatively and creatively, with team spirit and a sense of responsibility towards society. Presenting the Department of Screenplay Writing.
Every story has an inciting incident. In November 2003, at a seminar, veteran screenwriter Anjum Rajabali pointed out the lack of screenwriting education in India, saying that not even FTII had a course in screenwriting. Taking that rather seriously, the director of FTII at that time, Mr. Tripurari Sharan, promised that he would get a course in screenwriting approved from the ministry, provided somebody took up the challenge to run it. And Mr. Rajabali took it up. That is how, in 2004, the screenplay writing department at FTII came into being.
The department quickly integrated itself in the larger fabric of FTII, organizing a screenwriting seminar on the occasion of FTII's 50th anniversary in 2010 and celebrating a decade of excellence in 2014 in the presence of dignitaries like Sriram Raghavan and Govind Nihalani. Over the last 17 years, 15 batches of screenwriters have entered the industry, garnering more than 200 credits and several national and international awards. Abhijit Deshpande, Saurabh Bhave, Jyoti Kapoor, Pubali Chaudhary, and Atika Chauhan are only a few of the vast number of alumni who have made their mark in the industry and continue to be associated with the department as mentors and guest faculty. The one-year course, designed to train world-class screenwriters with a command on visual storytelling, evolved naturally along with new developments in the field and has now become a comprehensive 2-year diploma that encompasses writing for film, TV, as well as web series. From humble beginnings to a bright future, that's our journey. May I now invite Mr. Sayyid Rabeehashmi to deliver the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Guest of the 23rd Convocation Ceremony of FTI, Mira Nair,
Respected FTI President, Chairman Governing Council and Academic Council Shri Shekhar Kapur, respected members of Academic Council Shri Aanand Mahendroo and Shri Mazhar Kamran, Director FTII Shri Bhupendra Kainthola, Dean Films, Dean Television, dear colleagues and students of Film and Television Wing. It is an honor and privilege for me to propose vote of thanks at this occasion of 23rd Convocation ceremony of FTII. I would like to place on record our sincere gratitude to today's chief guest, Mira Nair Madam. Ma'am, your words and your body of work will remain as a constant motivation to all these young storytellers. FTI President Shri Shekhar Kapur sir has been a great support in all our endeavors. His futuristic leadership is a catalyst in the growth of this institute. Entire FTA family is thankful for you, for your leadership, and also special thanks for addressing these graduating students today. I would like to convey our heartfelt thanks to members of Governing Council and Academic Council for their meaningful contribution and guidance. FTI Director Shri Bhupendra Kainthola, the visionary team leader, sir, on behalf of FTI family, I would like to convey our sincere thanks for inspiring, advising and supervising us. I would also like to thank Dean Films Shri Dhiraj Meshram, Professor Sandeep Shahare, Dean Television and the team FTI, ably led by heads of departments and section heads. Dear students, Wisdom Tree is all yours and you are always welcome into the campus. Thank you.
Dear friends, this brings us to the conclusion of the 23rd Convocation of FTII. We thank you for witnessing today's ceremony. Our best wishes to you all.